With all due respect, Mr. Foltz, you can't compare our county to Sumter County or most any other county. And I'll tell you why. It's because we don't have the tax base they do. And I think we should channel our efforts from pointing fingers instead of saying who's spending what, and find some revenue to get the services that these people out here deserve. So as far as spending, I'm not worried about what they're spending. I'm worried about what's the cost of taxpayers out here. For instance, Sumter County has a wheel tax that we don't. That brings in, what is it, $9 million, $6 million. Sumter County has adequate facilities tax. You roll that all into a property tax, and what do you have? You've got $2.19, not $2.04. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Well, let me back up. For instance, a penny on their tax rate is worth $100,000 more than ours is. So you roll all that in, and you have a higher tax rate. Their people are paying more taxes than we are. So I'm not necessarily worried so much about the spending, of which these departments are elected officials that report to the people that elected them, not the county commission. I think commissioners, our job is to either fund or not fund, and if they are underspent or overspending, then we underfund. It's a simple matter. But one of the things that you'll see later on, I hope, through this new committee that we're going to form, would be to find those lost revenues. We're already down to 50% of the county is basically untaxed. Okay, it's not on the tax rolls, and some of it, and a lot of it, is not legitimate. In other words, we put it back on the tax rolls. I think we can hold a 204 tax rate, and then find these other revenues to shore this thing up. And by this time next year, I think we'll be in good shape. We just need to work at it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Okay, I have Mr. Hastings.
Yes, I guess we're discussing the 215. Please bear with me on this, if I may. While I did agree with some of what Commissioner Wright has said, our county is unique, and I think that there are things that make us unique as Blount Countyans, and that's why people choose to move here. But at the same time, I feel like that we, as a commission, have asked a couple of times for the man who did the study on our employee benefits. Guys, I know that's a place, it's going to be a sore spot. As a worker myself, I've had my benefits cut. I've had my benefits red circled, if you will. And I'm going to take a guess at this and make this as part of an amendment to this 215. I know that in November that our Human Resources Committee will meet, or that is the time that we have open enrollment. What I would like to ask is that committee look between now and November that our individual employee coverage be a minimum of $12.50 a week, that all part-time people would not be eligible for insurance, vacation days, holidays, or any of that. Going on what I have heard, and there again, the man did not come to the meeting, the agenda meeting last week, or the budget meeting. That would probably remove, I'm guessing, about 7 cents, I think, off this number, leaving us with 4 cents at a 204, I believe it is, isn't it? No, it would leave us with 4, so it'd be 208, 209. I'd also like us to look, a few years back, we put on a referendum, a 1 penny sales tax that would have gone to the schools. I know the citizens voted that down, but at the same time, I've had citizens for the last couple of weeks talk to me about taxes on what we spend, not on my home. That 1 cent sales tax, as we've seen our revenues go up in spending, that should be pretty close into bringing us to about a 205, maybe a 206. And forgive me, I'm not sure on those numbers. But I would like to make that in the form of a motion that we accept that. And we'll wait for a second.
Now, who wants to speak on this amendment? Okay, hold on. Okay, would you state your amendment again?
My amendment would be that in November, when our employees sign up for their insurance, effective January the 1st, a minimum of $12.50 a week would be paid for single coverage insurance. Also at that time, all part-time employees would not be eligible for insurance, vacation days, or holidays. That amount there, I feel like, comes up to about 7 cents. And also that this commission look at raising a 1 cent sales tax.
Okay, everyone got that? All right, I've got Mr. Farmer's number 1 here.
Let me address a couple of things. Number
Right
one,
in.
we cannot raise a 1 cent sales tax. If you're including that in an amendment, it cannot be done.
That's right.
Number 2, you're out of order on requesting something be done that is currently controlled by a committee. If you want to do that, but part of the stuff you just said is already in effect on the vacation time and things like that on part-time employees. But now, if in July, the HR committee will meet, and each July when it meets, there is discussion on coverage. Then another meeting is conducted in October with the facts and figures brought forward by our advisor, which is Trinity, and then it is voted on then, brought to the full commission to be voted on prior to the open enrollment. Now, if you want to put this in the form of an amendment, the sales tax, Mr. Hasty, we cannot do that, okay? That's why it was on a referendum a few years ago for an increase of 1/4% is what was on the referendum. It certainly cannot be 1%. Okay, so hopefully that answered that.
Okay, Mr. Moon.
I was just going to say the referendum was to max out our local option. It was either 1/4 or 1/2, but it's definitely not 1 penny.
Right. Okay, Mr. Folks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Less the proposal on the sales tax, this is something that we should consider. And it's not out of order. There's nothing in the rules that prohibits Mr. Hasty, Commissioner Hasty, from offering such an amendment. So the amendment should be voted on.
Mr. Folks, we are going to vote on it. It's up and it's ready for
Okay,
vote.
well, let's now boil it down to some money. It looks to me, just eyeballing this Trinity study, that this could bring in roughly a savings of about $1 million, round numbers. And that is something we should consider. The people out there in the audience are paying $200 to $800 a month for their medical benefits, and the county employees are paying zero. And the people I hear from aren't happy about that. And they have a right not to be happy. Now, I know the county employees all work very hard, but you cannot have that gap between yourselves and the people who are paying the bills. Thank you.
Mr. Lewis?
I guess want to reiterate Commissioner Farmer's comments that study that I originally requested is coming forward to the HR committee in July for consideration of not only one or two tiers, but 3 or 4 tiers. There will be several options to consider at that time. He was not able to do that prior to the finalization of the budget, and so he was asked to come in July to make that presentation, which will be done at that time. And then recommendations will come from the HR committee back to commission about tiers, however many that may be, and what those options may look like, and what those savings will amount to.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. I've got Mr. Folks again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The problem, Mr. Lewis, is that the date on this study is July 20th, 2010. That's how long that study's been rattling around, nearly a year. And I personally have made a motion at a couple of meetings to hear it, and was voted down. We've successfully kept that study bottled up for almost a year now. And we're making decisions on the use of the taxpayers' hard-earned money. And now is as good a time as any to face the issue. Thank you. I've got this Trinity study on my screen here. I mean, it's been around a long time. And it outlines 2-tier and 3-tier approaches, and it defines exactly what the savings will be. So if someone would prefer to take an amendment right out of the Trinity study, which has both 2-tier and 3-tier, and it gives us all kinds of options, that's fine. But this is a major item in the budget. Medical benefits are a roughly $15 million item in the budget. This is not chicken feed we're talking about here.
Okay. Mr. Ryder, you want to speak?
Yeah, I was under the impression we already took a look at that, and that's one thing. The other thing is I don't think we ought to jump into something here without knowing the full benefit of it, Commissioner. So I don't like this idea. Thank you.
I've got Mr. Folks again.
I hear from Commissioner Wright that we're acting in haste here. Wait a minute. The study is dated July 20th, 2010. We've had a year to mess with this and accomplish nothing. So now's as good a time as any.
Okay, I see the board is clear. Are you ready to vote? We're not accepting it, right. I got it.
Okay, you have 4 yeses and 16 noes and 1 abstain.
The amendment fails